Honorable mentions at the end of the video.
Training is a form of stress, and up to a certain point in time, exposing the body to stress can be beneficial, but beyond a definite period of time, it can actually be detrimental.
We're going to go to absolute.
The way to know that you are involving overload is to continue an exercise to the point of momentary muscular failure, to the point that it's impossible to continue. Then you have overloaded the muscle. And then, if you give it a chance, it'll grow.
Arthur Jones, Mike Mentzer, and Dorian Yates are notable figures in the realm of bodybuilding and fitness, known for their advocacy of low-volume, high-intensity training methods.
The first time he and I spoke, it was on the phone, but not a conversation, rather a lecture, and with a capital L. After a very terse, almost abrupt introduction, he launched into an impassioned disquisition on the subject of the fundamentals of anaerobic exercise physiology. I was stunned, not just about what he said, which was brilliant, but more so how he said it. This man, Arthur Jones, was willing to spend considerable time explaining to a complete stranger, in the clearest, most objectively precise manner, the essence of anaerobic exercise science. And the reason he did it, in addition to enjoying the experience of achieving that level of intellectual precision, was because I was sincere, an intelligent yet ignorant and sincere 20-year-old. I suspect I'll never meet anyone quite like Arthur Jones again.
Arthur Jones advocated for full-body workouts performed infrequently, often just once or twice a week.
There is today still the old problem of people attempting to equate quantity with quality. If a little bit's good, then more is better. And in some cases, perhaps that's true, but it is not true in exercise. People ask me, well, what's the right amount of exercise? I don't know. But in general, the more I reduce it, the better results I get. Ideally, in that case, you'd get infinite results if you just quit. Well, of course, at some point, it becomes counterproductive.
Jones recommended performing only one set per exercise, focusing on maximal intensity and effort during that set. This was a departure from traditional bodybuilding routines that employed multiple sets per exercise. The sets were performed to the point of muscle failure, where the lifter couldn't complete another repetition with proper form.
Instead of trying to determine how much exercise we can tolerate, perhaps we should be trying to determine how little exercise we actually require.
Jones advocated for slow, controlled repetitions, emphasizing both the lifting and lowering phases of the exercise.
I'll give you a demonstration here, and then I'm going to ask you to tell me whether this is a fast movement or a slow movement. No catch. Now, is that fast or slow? That's obviously slow.
Workouts were infrequent, with several days of rest between sessions to allow for full recovery.
Intensity of exercise can be measured at only two levels, 0 and 100%. When you are doing nothing, then your intensity is 0. Well, now we know that won't do it. But even if we knew that 80% was all that's required, or if we knew that that was better than 100%, how do we know when we're doing 80%? We don't. So the only way to know that you are involving overload is to continue an exercise to the point of momentary muscular failure, to the point that it's impossible to continue. Then you have overloaded the muscle. And then, if you give it a chance, it'll grow.
And at 25 or 30, you may think you're Superman. Wait 30 or 40 years and see. You'll like it better if you can straighten your arms, if you can straighten your back. You'll like it better if you can turn your head, I guarantee you. Exercise is capable of producing potential benefits almost beyond your wildest imagination. And it's also, improperly done, dangerous as hell. properly done, it is not dangerous at all. It will go a long ways to preventing injuries.
Mike Mentzer took HIIT to another level with his heavy-duty training philosophy. Mentzer's approach emphasized even lower volume, typically a single set per exercise, but with extreme intensity and meticulous form. He advocated for longer rest periods between workouts to allow for full recovery, aiming to minimize overtraining and maximize muscle growth. Mike also went for a split routine instead of the full-body workouts.
But an important point, Anthony, I did not train for hours and hours every day, and this is an important issue.
Oh, okay.
Contrary to what most bodybuilders do, which is train 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, to obtain that condition, I trained literally for 30 minutes 4 times a week, 2 hours a week.
Yeah, because the theory that you always hear is that it does require hours and hours to look like that.
The mistaken premise there is that more is better.
Uh-huh.
And the body doesn't necessarily work that way. If 2 hours or 4 hours a day were good, well, why not train 12 hours a day? Training is a form of stress, and up to a certain point in time, exposing the body to stress can be beneficial, but beyond a definite period in time, it can actually be detrimental. The vast majority of people who train it almost exactly the same way, for 2 to 4 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. There are those who have read my articles and have attended my seminars and tend to be reasonable individuals and train just for 30 to 45 minutes a day, 4 times a week.
Not only is he brighter than the average bodybuilder, he's got a great attitude. He's benevolent, he's amiable, he's open and accessible to fans. He doesn't have this attitude that he's superior by virtue of having bigger muscles than anybody else.
Right.
He's a human being.
Dorian Yates brought his own variation of HIIT to the forefront. Known as blood and guts training, Yates' approach combined low volume with high intensity, often incorporating forced reps or negative reps. He stressed the importance of pushing past one's limits during each workout.
Well, at this point where I met him, he was coaching people, training people in the gym. So he felt that he had more feedback now because he was training a variety of people. So we're discussing training, and basically what I was doing at that time was, with an exercise, I would warm up. So however many sets that would take to sufficiently warm up, it might have been 1 or 2 or 3, depending on where the exercise was in the schedule. If it was the first exercise, I might need 2 or 3 sets for me to be fully warmed up and feeling, safe and ready to go and give 100%. So I would warm up, and then I would take a set to failure or beyond failure at times with force reps and so on. And then I would probably drop the weight about 10% and do another set. So I would do 2 sets to failure. And Mike was like, well, your volume's already low, but how about just trying to cut it back to one set to failure and just put everything in that, and that will be reducing your volume, and that might give you another little growth spurt, Did improve during those years. So it proved how little exercise you do need. It's the key is the level of intensity that, flicks that switch, if you like, to turn on the growth. So
it's very brief training compared to what was being done in the past. I think if you look back to the 70s, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Olympia, it wasn't unusual for guys to train 6 days a week, even twice a day. And that was, they had great physiques, but it would have been better if they were training less.
While all 3 of these influential figures promoted low-volume, high-intensity workouts, there were nuanced differences in their methods. Jones focused on the concept of infrequent training and employing a variety of exercises to target muscle groups comprehensively. Mentzer's heavy-duty training was stricter in terms of rest and recovery, emphasizing the importance of a well-structured routine. Yates, on the other hand, prioritized pushing beyond one's comfort zone during each set to achieve maximum intensity, often with the help of a training partner.
Intense training is purposeful behavior aimed at the goal of increasing muscular size and strength. In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan. Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try. So let's get with it.
All right, I made a post on here about this video that I'm doing, and I asked you guys, like, who else is a well-known high-intensity advocate in the world of bodybuilding? So Ray would be Uncle. Of course, Ray's number one. Mike's brother, he was 1979 Mr. America. What a loss. Casey Viator, yeah, the man who introduced Mike to Arthur Jones and then high-intensity training. He was also the bodybuilder in the Colorado experiment, good friends with Mike, and he was also the youngest Mr. America winner at the age of 19 in 1971. Tom Platz for Shoe, known for his leg development. Wow, I don't even know what I'm looking at. You see him nowadays, he's in the gym working out in a suit and suspenders. Boyer Coe, friend of Mike's and his brother. He was also involved with Arthur Jones and the Nautilus Company. You've probably seen those videos of them working out. There he is at the end. He was part of the controversial 1980 Mr. Olympia contest where Arnold took the win. Boyer and Mentzer actually tied for 4th place, but they ended up giving Mike 5th. Mike wasn't the only one who was upset and protested the results. Many of the competitors also boycotted the next year's 1981 competition where Frank Colombo took it. John Little, yeah, he was the co-author of High Intensity Training, the Mike Mentzer Way, friends with Mike as well. His YouTube channel, Heavy Duty College, there's so much information on that channel, great stories with Mike. He also wrote a lot about Bruce Lee. He's a great author, and definitely check out his channel. John Hart, Mr. America Hart. John Hart, he's a natural bodybuilder. His YouTube is Mr. America Hart. He was actually one of Mike's phone clients, so that's amazing. Jay Vinson, grandson. I don't know too much about Jay Vinson. I haven't really watched too much of his stuff. Drew Bay. Let me see. I don't know this guy. He looks like an older guy, but really in great shape. I'm going to have to check him out. Jeff Alberts. I don't know this guy either. High intensity training, but I'm got to check him out too. Dante Trudell. This dude looks too jacked. I don't know. Dave Palumbo. I'm not sure about that guy. Ray Aswell. Roids. Is that a first or last name? I have to give me more on that one, but I'll check that one out too. Die at 49 like Mike. That's a good one. So thanks everyone for your inputs. I really enjoyed reading all the comments. So check out more of my videos if you like this one. Subscribe, and thanks again.
Train like Mike.